Implementing a people-first culture, a practical roadmap for organizational success abstract. This article explores how implementing a people-first organizational culture provides sustainable competitive advantage in today's business environment. Drawing on decades of research, the authors argue that while technology and production improvements offer short-term gains, companies with cultures prioritizing human development consistently outperform peers across customer satisfaction, employee engagement, innovation, and financial metrics. The article presents a comprehensive roadmap for cultural transformation, including assessing current culture, establishing values-driven vision, aligning organizational systems with stated values, fostering continuous learning, and investing in employees as partners rather than replaceable resources. Through practical examples and research-backed strategies, the authors demonstrate how shifting to a people-centric approach requires systematic effort but ultimately creates the discretionary effort, innovation, and resilience that drive long-term business success beyond what financial incentives alone can achieve. As competition intensifies in today's business landscape, companies must find innovative ways to gain a competitive edge. While strategies like new technologies and production methods can boost performance in the short term, sustainable success is built on an organization's most valuable asset, its people. Decades of research demonstrate that organizations with people-first cultures consistently outperform their peers on key metrics like customer satisfaction, employee engagement, innovation, and financial results. However, shifting to such a culture requires a systematic, long-term effort. Today we will provide a roadmap for leaders seeking to implement a people-first culture, grounded in academic research and featuring practical tips and examples. The importance of culture. Culture refers to the deeply embedded patterns of shared values, beliefs, and behaviors that shape how people act and interact within an organization. Shine. 2017. Culture profoundly impacts performance because it influences how employees think, feel, and respond on a day-to-day basis. Decades of research confirms that cultures focused on human development produce results that far exceed what financial incentives alone can achieve. Cameron and Quinn. 2011. People-first cultures attract and retain top talent, foster meaningful work and productivity, and empower employees as agents of change. In contrast, cultures that prioritize short-term financial goals over employee well-being tend to struggle with high turnover, disengagement, and stagnation. Assessing your starting point before embarking on cultural transformation. Leaders must conduct an honest self-assessment to understand the current culture and pinpoint areas for improvement. Shine, 2017, recommends gathering input through methods like cultural assessments, employee surveys, interviews, and focus groups. Leaders should analyze how decisions are currently made, conflicts are handled, success and failure are viewed, risks are assessed, and new ideas are received. Patterns will emerge around core assumptions like whether people or numbers are the top priority, whether employees feel empowered or micromanaged, and whether the culture encourages learning or blame. This baseline understanding helps shape strategy and focus efforts. Establishing a shared vision and values with understanding of the current culture in hand. Leaders are ready to articulate the desired future state. Research shows that people-first cultures are built on core values like integrity, respect, courage, accountability, and commitment to development. Cameron and Quinn. 2011. Leaders must clearly define what these values mean in practice and role model them consistently. Values should also guide strategic decisions and resource allocation to demonstrate organizational commitment beyond words. Leaders also craft a compelling multi-year vision for how the culture and business will evolve into the future if values are fully realized. Effectively communicating this vision and values framework lays the groundwork to engage all employees in the journey of transformation. Aligning structures, systems, and daily practices for cultural change to take root. The formal structures and routines that directly impact employees must align with espoused values. This involves examining fundamental practices like performance management, recognition and rewards, decision-making processes, training programs, and operating procedures with a critical eye. Do current practices reward and encourage collaborative, values-driven behavior or short-term thinking? Organizations like Microsoft, LinkedIn, and Adobe recognized performance reviews disempowered employees and shifted to frequent feedback and skills development instead. O. Leonard. 2014. Leaders should identify misalignments and partner with employees to redesign supporting systems. For example, an accounting firm refocused performance reviews on competence progress versus billable hours to promote learning over billings. Daily rituals like stand-up meetings at tech companies foster transparency and shared purpose. Progress should be measured not only through downstream outcomes but also through regular cultural audits to gauge perceptions and experience over the long term. Change happens gradually through continual improvement of the enabling environment. Developing a learning mindset. People-first cultures recognize that competence and performance derive from ongoing learning and growth. Leaders foster a learning organization by promoting transparency, psychological safety, and continuous skill building. For example, healthcare network Kaiser Permanent hosts Lunch and Learns, where employees share challenges and lessons across departments to spread insights. Leaders also model admission of past mistakes to encourage risk-taking and innovation. Edmondson. 2011. Specific initiatives include rotating employees into new roles every 2 to 3 years, providing robust continued education benefits, and recognizing both failures that lead to insights as well as successes. Leaders also actively solicit feedback, ideas, and questions from all levels to nurture an environment where people feel empowered to shape decisions and constantly raise the bar. With a learning-oriented mindset, organizations remain dynamic enough to adapt nimbly to changing times. Investing in people as partners in people-first cultures. Employees view themselves not merely as replaceable workers but as valued partners essential to long-term success. Here are some powerful ways to deepen human connections. Coach and mentor employees. Coach managers develop others' strengths while challenging and supporting growth beyond the limits of a given role. Foster community. Events like company retreats and volunteer days strengthen bonds while reinforcing shared purpose beyond work itself. Address whole person well-being. Progressive benefits address physical, emotional, financial, and social well-being needs through health programs, paid family leave, skills training, etc. Solicit input regularly, conduct skip-level meetings, cultural audits and idea contests to nurture an ownership mindset through consistent participation. Celebrate milestones meaningfully, publicly recognize service anniversaries, promotions from within, and project wins to build pride in the organization and trajectory. When people feel truly invested and fulfilled, they bring discretionary effort that drives competitive advantage. Conclusion: measuring success and ensuring sustainability. Assessing the fruits of cultural change requires balancing short and long-term indicators. Beyond hard metrics like retention rates, productivity, or client satisfaction, leaders should also measure softer outcomes like employee engagement, pride, discretionary effort, collaboration, and psychological safety through repeated cultural audits. Sustaining new norms also demands continued reinforcement, especially during transitions like leadership or strategic changes. With patience and commitment to the journey, organizations that prioritize human growth and partnership over numbers stand to realize immense returns in innovation, resilience, and longevity. A people-first culture rooted in shared purpose builds the foundation for ongoing success in changing times.